Cal, you're a worldwide fitness and lifestyle coach. You are running a football academy. You're living in Phuket, Thailand. Tell me what a day in the life looks like for you, mate.
Very busy, as you can imagine, but I absolutely love it. So, running an online coaching business, I'm dealing with clients on a daily basis, messages, emails, doing their check-ins, where I deliver their feedback, give them their clear plan for the following week, any issues, fix any of that, and also, most importantly, get my non-negotiables done each day. That'll be steps, workout, make sure I'm eating the right food, cardio if I've got cardio that day, and also, as you know, being an online coach, you're a full-time content creator as well, so it's trying to manage and juggle it all, but I feel like we're having the right systems in place. I'm managing it and I'm loving it, and also I'm coaching 3 nights a week at the football academy, which is something I never thought I would be doing either.
Yeah, it's incredible, mate. I remember when we spoke, obviously, last time I came out, we met up briefly and you'd mentioned how you guys were starting that. It's like you've built almost this dream life, mate. Obviously, you've managed to, which we'll touch on where you've come from, you've got to a position where you're now moving out here permanently. You're living in one of the most beautiful places in the world. You've got a business that you love from the football side of things, something you're incredibly passionate about. You've now got a business involved in that. It's like just the whole area, everything you're doing is pretty incredible, mate. So we're going to touch on that. We're going to go into absolutely everything. Obviously, this life that you've built is incredible, mate. But take me back to the beginning, because life hasn't always been like that. Obviously, you had aspirations of becoming a professional footballer. So I want to start there. So take me back to, I suppose, your first memories in football. What was that like?
First memories in football, like I've always had a ball at my feet when I was younger. I either had a ball or I was out on my bike. I was just always an active kid. But where I fell in love with football was the 1998 World Cup that I can imagine loads of young people watching that would have fell in love with the Brazilian Ronaldo. But for me, it hit a little bit more deeper because I seen someone on TV that actually looked like me, and I was like, I want to be that. And I just fell in love, became obsessed with football from there. Every day, practicing skills, juggling out the back, just always trying to impress my dad as well, show him that I could do certain things, try to fit in with the older group, always try to go out and play in the streets with them. But from that moment on, I knew from the age of 5, 6, that I knew I wanted to be a professional footballer. So the journey just began from there.
Amazing. And how did that start? What kind of teams did you play for? What area were you brought up and what teams did you play for?
So I was brought up in a place called Summerston, Maryhill to start with, and then I moved to Rockhill. So there wasn't many teams about in the beginning. It was like the school team I would play for. Started out as a right back, finished top goal scorer, so I got moved to striker. That kind of happens in football. The strikers end up defenders and the defenders end up strikers. And I started playing with AFC Celtic Boys Club, so that's where it kind of started. And I grew up as a Rangers fan as well, but I'm not biased, I'm not a bigot in any way. I just want to play football. And I had the shaved head, I had the baldy. I looked up to people like Henrik Larsson, Ronaldo, Thierry Henry. So it started from there, and maybe up to P7, that's when I signed for a pro youth team called Gretna. So some people may remember them. They were a team that they had a lot of money at the time, and they were on their way to be doing great things. I spent a few years there, ended up becoming the captain, and they were like, I was getting my boots bought for me. They were really taking care of me. So from a young age, I feel like they seen the talent and the ability in me, and they were kind of pushing me in that route of maybe going full-time or professional with them. When I was 13, I went down and played that under-19s game with them, and I was like, whoa, look at the size of these guys. I just thought they were all big farmers because it was away down in Gretna. And then shortly after that, Aberdeen came in for me, and they basically promised me like a full-time contract at that moment, which doesn't happen to a lot of boys. Like, you kind of get to the age of 15, 16, and then the full-time contract starts to come into play. So in school, I I wasn't interested in school. I was just so focused on football. And when I got to the age of 15, that's when I signed my contract with Aberdeen and moved up there to be a full-time footballer.
You moved up to Aberdeen?
Yeah.
At 15?
Yeah.
That's crazy. How long were you there for?
I was there for 5 years.
Wow, mate.
So I left school early. I was like a January leaver, the way my birthday falls. But the first team manager and the assistant manager came up to my school, had a word with my head teacher, probably just asking how is he in school. Is he someone that's academically or what, or could we get him out early and get him up to Aberdeen, and ended up going up early.
Wow, incredible. What was that like, playing for Aberdeen, going through that system at that age? How were things up there?
In the beginning, it was very, very difficult. Like, you are one of the best players in your team, in your school, so you're kind of like the cream of the crop at the time, and then you go in to a group of lads where it's the cream of the crop from everywhere, so you're not the best player anymore. And the first 2 months I found it hard because of how intense the training was. The older lads, how demanding they were with standards and stuff like that, and it took me a little bit to settle, but once I settled, I was fine. I was flying. I basically missed out the age of under 17s and went straight to under 19s at the age of 15. And the turning point for that was we were playing a game against Kilmarnock away, and we were getting beat 2-1 at half time. The manager brought me on, changed the game. We ended up winning 3-2, and from there I just started every week. Started getting into the reserve team when I played when I was 16, scoring goals. Things were looking good. Get picked up for Scotland, playing for Scotland in the Victory Shield live on Sky Sports and stuff, so things were looking amazing. It was all going the right direction, and then started slowly fading away the other way.
How did that happen? What caused you to start to fade?
I wasn't living like a professional. Like, this is a lot of lads in my position will relate to this, that you're staying up in digs, you're staying away from home, you've not got your mates, your mum, your family, so you're kind of left to your own devices. What happens is you get put into a house with a landlord, with 2 or 3 other lads, and you know what young lads are like, they can get up to mischief. My diet from day one was never good. I would walk home from training, go into Burger King and get 3 to 5 chicken royales on their own. I would order 2 for Tuesday Domino's to myself. And even though I got away with it, but I know it had an impact on my performance, had an impact on the way I think, and it was just a horrible, horrible thing to be addicted to at a young age. And then after that, the gambling came into play.
Yeah, it's interesting you touch on that, mate, 'cause obviously it's something that we do all the time when we're working with clients. It's like people come to us and say, oh, I want to be this type of person, I want to be that, but you genuinely, you have to act as that person, you have to live as that person. People think of the end result. It's like, in your case it was the footballer, but you weren't living like the footballer.
No.
Not to the standard that you wanted to be anyway.
100%. Like, I was relying on my natural ability and talent to get me there, and there's loads of people that's made it through that. But I remember in Rangers training ground when we'd go and play against the under-19s, there was a picture on the wall of an old legend. I can't remember who it was, but on the picture it said, footballers aren't made in the gym. And that always stuck with me. Anytime any of the lads would ask me to go into the gym, I'm like, no, I don't need to go to the gym. But you forget, football evolves like everything else. It's not the 60s, 70s, 80s where you could turn up with a hangover, kick fuck at each other. The boys with good ability will just dance past people. You need to be a top level athlete to make it in the sport. Like, I've seen boys that maybe didn't have as much ability as me, made it because they had the right attitude, they had the professionalism and the work ethic.
I think it's perfectly summarises, mate. I remember going through school and you obviously have these boys that are standouts, like yourself, you would have been, and then everybody went, oh, they've got to be professionals, and it turns out it doesn't end the way that they want it to end. And it almost always comes back to that. Like, even if I think, I don't know why Ravel Morrison comes to mind for me, like in terms of footballers, but you think, these guys that are meant to be the next best thing, they just don't live the life.
Yeah.
That's it. They have the natural ability. People are always confused by that. Like, they had the ability, whatever. They don't live the life. It's the same with anything you want in life. If you aren't willing to live the life that it takes to become that type of person, it's not going to work out. So it makes perfect sense. Now, you touched on kind of almost like a decline there. You touched on gambling, foods, everything like that. What kind of age were you when your habits started to slip?
I would say the habits started to slip when I moved digs into the city centre when I was probably about 18. That's when it started to change. That's when the nights out started happening. Every time I'd come home from Aberdeen, it was out with my mates all weekend. When I was up in Aberdeen, if we had a night off, it'd be out in the town, and obviously the nutrition was just horrific. Like, I was brought up where my mum ended up finding it cheaper to order a takeaway every night than go a weekly shop, and at certain times she was a single parent, so I totally understand. But I got the addiction to fast food, and I'm a big eater. Everyone used to say to me, if you don't slow down, you're going to end up very overweight, which ended up the case, which we'll touch on later. But the gambling side of it, that was probably one of the worst habits I've ever had. Two boys I stayed in digs with, walk home for training, get something to eat out of KFC, then we'd go into the bookies, and then at night we'd go to the casino, and that would be like a daily occurrence because you've got so much free time in your hands. Like, you're in training at 9 o'clock in the morning, you're getting prepped, getting all the stuff ready for the first team, and then you go out, do your an hour and a half to 2 hours training, come back, have your lunch. You could be up the road for 12:30, 1 o'clock. And what you're doing at 16, 17, 18, I was playing the PlayStation, gambling. There's not much else to do, which I do genuinely feel there has to be a better infrastructure for young footballers. I don't know if that's the same for every team, but at that time for me it was pretty bad.
I mean, you hear about it all the time, mate. It's like, it's either goes two ways, doesn't it? They either go out, they gamble, they drink, or they take up golf. It's one of two, mate. But it's a really good point you mentioned. It's like especially for young guys, see if you're a grown adult, you have a family, whatever, maybe even another business, that's totally fine. You can fill your time. Whereas a young guy, what are they genuinely meant to do? Because they have no idea at that time. It's not as if most guys aren't going to have the initiative to be like, I'll start a business, or I'll use my time doing extra training. So I think you're right, mate. I think a big thing would be coming in and giving these guys more support, more structure. Because look at it, when I can relate to that in this instance of when we leave school. When do most people put on weight, they get into drugs and they do all these bad things? When they leave school, because they leave structure. So when people don't have structure, they just fall into their own demise. Because what else are they meant to do? It's like they just let whatever happens. And then other people are like, I do this, I do that. And, cool. And then you're looking for dopamine all the time because you're feeling miserable, because you're fed up, because you've got nothing to fill your time. So it's the same both in football and just within life. It's like you leave the structure of school. If you don't, or even university, it's the same. It's like you're in for 2 lectures, and then what else are you going to do? You're going to go out and drink. You're in the city centre. So it makes sense. And I think it further highlights why we obviously focus as a coach so much on like environment. You think of that, it's like, okay, you've been given this abundance of time, you're in the city centre, you've got all these young guys around you, what's going to happen there? So yeah, it makes perfect sense. It's almost like a recipe for disaster, that situation you've been put in there. So that was at what age?
So it was 18 to 20,
18
where
to 20.
it just spiralled right out of control.
And then how did your footballing career go after that?
So once I got to like 19, where the contract talks were happening, mine and like 10 to 12 other boys didn't get their contract renewed. But also at the time, they scrapped the reserve league in Scottish football at this period, and usually what would happen, the boys that maybe had something about them would get an extra year. They'd play in the reserve league, they'd be in the first team dressing room, and then they can try and prove themselves from there. But that was taken away, so a lot of us got released, and from there I just didn't take it well, mate. Like, for the next year and a half to 2 years, I fell into a deep depression, man.
And what did life look like then? What were you doing on a day-to-day basis at that point?
Day-to-day basis, I was just eating junk food every day, playing the PlayStation, that was my life. I didn't really want to leave the house. I felt like the biggest failure ever, and then the weight was just creeping on, and then I ended up over 100 odd kilos from, I was probably like maybe 69 kilos when I was playing football. So I put a lot of weight on, and people round about me kept telling me, "Cal, what's happening to you?" But I just couldn't see it. Like, I was just in a bad place, and it ended up costing me the relationship I had at the time, and I just was too focused on leveling myself up in a computer game than I was taking charge of my own life at that point.
Yeah, again, mate, it's such a common thing that people fall into from there, and it's almost that, obviously it's easy for us now to look back and see this as a good thing, because now you help people get out of exactly that, but at the time I can imagine it must have been horrible. What did it feel like?
It felt like my whole identity had been stripped away from me, because I felt that I was born to play football. That's the way I was always reassured as a kid from coaches or our parents. Even if I played the opposite team, the other manager would say to me, like, "Wee man, you're going to do something in this game." So I always had it drummed into me. And then when I got to Aberdeen as well, like, you're promised the world, as you do, but when you look at it, it's a business at the end of the day on their front. Like, the next person's coming along and you can be replaced at any second. So I felt football had turned its back on me, and I kind of fell into that way of thinking the world owed me something, and sitting feeling sorry for myself, to be honest.
So obviously you've went through this youthful career, been told you're going to be a professional footballer, you've had this idea, this is the only thing you've ever wanted. That's not happened. You've obviously now developed this kind of victim's mentality, I suppose, for lack of better words. What did your adult life look like after that? What did you do for work? What did you then get into?
So for 2 years, I didn't work at all. As I said, I was just sitting in the house daily, playing a computer. And then my mate at the time got me a job in a call centre doing solar panel sales. And this was so daunting for me, because, again, getting into an environment like that where you need to wear shirt and trousers and sit at a desk all day, like, that was complete alien to me. And then in the beginning I had to read off a script, and I was like, I'm not academically good with reading or writing, so it was pretty scary in the beginning. But once I got into it, I had quite a natural knack for it, and I got promoted in the first 2 months. Things started looking up again, started taking care of my fitness. I went into doing the Insanity programme. Do you ever remember that?
No, I don't know.
So it was a thing that would come on at 2-3 in the morning on the TV channel, the shopping channel, and it was basically just like a HIIT workout in your living room. This must have came on about 50 times before I took action. It got to the point where I felt like, that's speaking to me now, I need to take action. And I was running up the stairs one day, just seen my gut hanging over my shorts. And I was like, I need to do something. So I asked my mum for the £100 for the DVDs. Got that, started doing that, and started enjoying work life, making decent money in a sales job. Things started looking up a wee bit from there.
What age were you at this point?
So I was about 22.
Okay. And then from there, obviously, is this when you first began to get yourself back in shape?
Yep. So from there, I completed that programme back to back, 90 days. Went from 101 kilograms down to 64 kilograms. And I posted my before and after on Facebook, and my phone started blowing up. Teams wanted to sign me again. So it was like junior teams in Scotland, but it was a step back into the direction where I wanted to basically go. And work at the time as well, like, I actually loved doing the sales job. Like, I loved talking to people each day on the phone, and I learned a lot from that side of things too.
Amazing. And what did you do from that standpoint? Did you get back into football? Did you start playing again?
I got back into football. So in those 2 years where I was just basically in that bit of a depression, I was playing with a team called Glencairn under 21s, we had one of the best teams about. There was actually quite a few boys that had been released full time, and we were in that team, and we won the league. We won quite a few of the cups. Great team. That helped me massively through that time. That was my only other outlet except from playing the computer. One of my coaches, George, he put me on to Shettleston Juniors, so I went and signed with them halfway through the season. We got promoted. I was flying. When I'm fit, and I love my football, when I'm not fit, I hate it. I was flying, and then the girl I was seeing at the time, we went on holiday to Malaga for 4 weeks, and it was just a case of boozing, partying, eating, put like 2 stone on. The last week of that holiday, I got a text to go on trial with Albion Rovers, went back, signed with them, but I missed pre-season. I was out of shape, and at this time as well, I was leaving my sales job and going into do barbering in college, and that's when the partying started.
See, how long did you go to college for? Long?
I went to college, got my qualifications, so I'm a qualified barber.
Aye.
But I'm not very good at it. I realised very quickly that wasn't for me. Probably the second week into the course, I was like, this isn't for me. But I'm not someone that likes to quit, and I felt, get the qualification and just enjoy the student life for a year.
And I assume the student life, that invites its own bad habits, alcohol, drugs, things like that. So what age were you at this point?
23.
23. What happened over that kind of year of your life? What did your life look like then?
So that's when I was playing with Albion Rovers. Wasn't getting a game each week. Like, I was phoning sickies quite a lot because I was out partying at the weekend. On my 23rd birthday is when I took my first drug, and it was an MDMA capsule. We went to Sub Club. There was like 12 or 13 of us, and it was one of the best nights of my life, to be honest. And then that just sent me down that hole of going to raves, partying, living the student life, going out 3-4 times a week, and then trying to train part-time, when really I should have looked at that opportunity as a step back into the football. But when I went back into it, I realised that I didn't actually enjoy it as much as I used to.
Mm-hmm. So when did things go down from a football standpoint after that? How long were you playing for them for?
Only played for them for 1 season. I knew I wasn't going to get kept on. Then after that, I went back juniors, which I did enjoy it at the junior level. It still felt that you had to show a big commitment, but it wasn't as intense as a more professional or semi-professional club. And I signed for Cumnock down in Ayrshire, which was brilliant. I was the manager at the time. He'd seen me played for Shettleston, and he'd been trying to sign me. So he seen me in shape, fit, and then he signed me out of shape, one of the most unfittest players in the league. So I was chasing my tail, but I ended up finishing that season one of the fittest players in the league. I got my act together halfway through the season. I loved playing down there. They had a beautiful pitch. The fans were amazing. When you played the local teams down there, it was like a Celtic and Rangers derby. Like, they take it seriously down there, sure. And that's halfway through that season when I really started getting back into fitness. So I was out of shape, got in shape, ended up out of shape again because of partying and fast food again. And then that's when my self-improvement journey really started. I started taking it really seriously.
Interesting. And why do you think that was? Why did you then start to focus on your own improvement and becoming a better person? What caused
Because
that?
I realised how good it made me feel. I realised that I'm my best self when I'm doing the right things daily. So I noticed that period when I lost the weight the first time, even though it wasn't through the gym, I ended up looking at my physique. I ended up very skinny and going, I've went from the fat guy to now the skinny guy, and now I feel uncomfortable in t-shirts and stuff like that. But for a small period, I felt very confident because I was playing football again. I was getting compliments. I was on nights out, just enjoying it, just living a life again. And then when I ended up out of shape, I was like, I can't let this carry on any longer. So I started running. Then that's when I started the gym, and then it just took off from there. I was like, this is me. I love this.
That's it, man. I love that, because I think when it was the same for me as well, in the sense of, see, as soon as you experience, like, quote unquote, the good life, when you experience how good it feels to be on your shit, to be locked in, to be doing the things you know you need to do and avoiding the things you know you shouldn't be doing, it's powerful, man, because it's like, once you experience that and you go back to your old ways, you're like, fuck this, it is the kick up the arse you need, because it's like, this isn't the life that I want to live. And I think this is what I explain to clients, and it's obviously when they start working with me, this is one of the first things they pick up in, like, the first 4 weeks, like, oh my God, I didn't realise that life could be this good, because it is that. It's like, when you remove alcohol, when you remove these things, whatever your bad habits are, you do the things that you should be doing, everything improves radically. And for you, same as me, that seems like that was the thing that made you realise, no, this is the life I want to live. I don't want to be stuck in those old ways.
It's such a common theme, mate. I see it with all my clients as well. As you said, after the first 4 weeks, they're like, this is the way life should be. This is the way my digestion should be.
Yep.
Like, this is the way I should be thinking mentally. Like, it's the most natural form of medicine we've got, I feel. Good food, daily exercise, running. Running was a massive part for me. Like, as basically a full-time athlete, when it from 15 to like 20, you never wanted to do any extra running. You hated running, but it probably took me about 6 months to start getting that runner's high, and I was like, I feel like I've just took an eckie. Like, it's the weirdest feeling ever, and I get such a high from that, and I need to do it alone a few times a week, either getting out a walk or going a run, because that's where my mind is free. I can think clearly and I can plan my future. I've planned my whole future doing that stuff.
Yeah, it's so good, mate. It's like, movement is medicine. Like you said, the time when my visualization is strongest is when I'm running. Not when I'm in the gym. Now, I do think about a lot of future-based things in the gym, but it is running, because you get into, I wouldn't even say it's a flow state, but you get into a period of consistency. It's like, you're at a consistent pace. It's not too difficult or too easy. It's like, you know you're going at a good pace, but you just, I suppose it is somewhat flow. You're not necessarily locked in the task at hand, but you are almost daydreaming and you're thinking of the future. It's like, people don't give themselves enough time to think of the future. Everybody's so busy on their phone, distracting themselves, where as soon as you give yourself the chance to actually be alone with your mind, which running gives you, but you also have a distraction of, right, I'm actually doing something physical, now I have time to think. It's like, when, I don't know about you, but when I get my best thoughts, my most creative and inspiring thoughts, is either when I'm like in the shower or I'm running. It's like, when you cannot do anything else and you're forced to sit alone with your thoughts, some real good shit comes from that.
100%. I think it's very important for people to spend that time alone each week, because you answer a lot of your questions, a lot of your doubts, a lot of the things that's bothering you. You can find the answers out in those runs. I love spin classes as well. I love cycling. Anything that's, as you said, you can get into that flow state. It gives me that a great peace of mind and lets me plan the future as well.
Yeah, so it's a great added benefit. Like, there's so many things with exercise. People just think about, oh, you get fitter and you get stronger. The benefits for the mind they far outweigh the benefits for the body, at least in my books, and I think it's the same for you. I think a big thing for anyone is when they start to reduce or remove bad habits from their life. You had mentioned, obviously, you had gambling addiction, the food addiction, that's been a thing throughout your life. Obviously, drugs, alcohol, that increased when you were in college. When did you begin to remove these things from your life?
I fully started removing them when I started coaching. Like, when I was going in this journey of coaching, like 5.5 years ago, it was, I felt like I want to give this everything. I've been sober now like 4.5 years. I've not took any drugs for 5.5 years. And it wasn't because I had issues or like it was totally controlling my life, but I seen how bad it made me feel. The come downs were getting worse. Like, the hangovers were lasting a week, and I was looking at all the vices I had. I was like, food, I've got drink, drugs, partying, all these things. I was like, what do I not need? What's the one thing out of each of these vices that I could maybe have my little bit of poison from now and again? And that's food. Like, I can control that more now. But the other side of things, I'm like, it does me no benefit. There's no productivity if I've got a hangover for the full week after. I'm eating junk food the full week after. I'm not going to the gym. And then that could spiral into 2-3 weeks before I'm like, right, fucking hell, get back in the gym, bro.
Yeah.
So after lockdown, I found myself, me and Paula, during lockdown, like many people, we had no outlet, we had nothing to do, the gyms were closed, so we were finding ourselves drinking a little bit more during that period. And I told myself I would never be a house drinker, just from what I seen when I was younger, growing up with my dad. And I challenged myself to a year going sober, completed it. Paula maybe had 2 or 3 nights out that year, and how bad she felt after those, she's like, you've not felt bad once this year with a hangover. So she challenged herself the following year, and then we've not looked back since.
Amazing.
So, and it's coincidence or not, but my life has seemingly got better and better every single year after.
Not surprised, mate. I mean, this is obviously something we've spoke about, but like any of these, I think this is one of the best things that people can do from a self-improvement standpoint, is look at what are your self-limiters, what are the things that hold you back. Now, alcohol was something that I've hugely reduced in my life, because it was the same for me. So I was drinking every weekend, sometimes twice, and then I was wondering why for 2-3 days after it, I couldn't get any work done. I didn't necessarily physically feel bad, but mentally I did. Low mood, low motivation, low levels of productivity. I looked at all these things, I'm like, fuck, it's like, okay, you have these goals and ambitions of being this type of man. What fucking good is this doing for you? So it makes so much sense, man. And the fact that both of you have done that together is so powerful, mate. That's amazing that both of you have kind of committed to that.
Mate, it goes hand in hand, and I say that to my clients as well when they sign up and they're getting their nutrition plan, we're getting them on the food. Like 9 times out of 10, the whole household ends up eating the same food. And I was like, it's better when both of you are on the same page with this sort of thing, because if you're on this plan and then your missus orders a takeaway every Friday night, you're going to be tempted every Friday night to get that. But if you two are in it together, it makes life so much easier.
Yes, it's much easier to avoid than it is to resist. So it's like, as soon as you have something put in front of you, you're going to have to try and resist it. First week, second week, maybe okay, then you're going to cave. Whereas if you just totally avoid it and you keep it out of sight, that's the way to do it, man. How did you go from, because obviously you said you were working in sales at some point. Now obviously you've been coaching for what, around 5-6 years now?
5.5 years, yeah.
How did that transition look? How did you get into starting your own business as a coach?
So this was never the path for me. Like I remember back in school going on work experience in a Springburn Leisure Centre, and you basically shadowed the lifeguard for a few hours, you shadowed the PT in the gym and a few other people, and I felt it was the most boring job I had ever seen in my life. They had no interaction with anybody, hardly anybody was in the gym. All they were doing was cleaning the equipment. So I felt like getting into fitness was a natural transition from playing football, but I was like, that's not for me, man. I don't like the look of it or the sound of it. So in the sales job, I ended up getting back into sales after the barbering, and I was enjoying it. I was making bonus each month, I was working with good people, but I was sitting in there knowing every day, this isn't something I want to do the rest of my life. I was seeing 50, 60-year-olds in these call centres, and I was like, there's no way they've planned for this outcome to be sitting here with us 20-year-olds. But I always had that fear of, when is it going to click for me? Like, am I going to be 40? Am I going to be 50 and then realise, oh, this is what I want to do with my life? So I started posting my self-improvement journey on Instagram, Facebook and stuff, more serious, like videos, back in 2017. My stories in the morning, you seen me putting the work in, like I was relentless with it, and I'd be getting a lot of comments, people would be messaging me, and then I released a video doing type of like workouts that you see like high roxers and that doing just now. It was like an assault bike, sandbag lunges, wall balls, frog jumps, stuff like that, and it went crazy. Like, I got so many messages off the back of it saying, can you coach me? Because I was looking in good shape as well. And then when I was going nights out, people were saying to me, oh, you're that coach on Instagram. So people were thinking I was a coach before I was even a coach. So they basically made their mind up for me. And I was like, I sat down one day and I was like, I've got an actual passion for this. I love it. I love how much it's changed my life. me and Paula went to Bali in 2019. She was working on a cruise ship. She was a professional dancer at the time, and she was wanting to transition out of that as well. And the two we were on Kalinkong Beach, whole beach to ourselves, and we were just sitting talking about our future, and we're like, we should become personal trainers, but we had no idea how it was going to go, if we were going to go and work in a gym, if we were going to go online or whatever. But that's how I transitioned into being a coach and finding the passion that I feel like the people made the decision for me.
It's amazing, mate. It's amazing how things work out, and I love that, because I think so many people look for their purpose and their passion, and I see these things are created. Like, you created this for yourself. It's interesting when people talk on luck and things like that. People could say, oh, well, that was lucky that came up, and people started saying it, whatever. You're the one that took the initiative to post the content. You literally just posted your journey online, and then one thing leads to another. There's a quote that I love that says, diligence is the mother of good luck, and diligence is careful and persistent work or effort. Mm-hmm. It's just like, if you're careful, if you're persistent and you keep going with something, things come up, things pop up. So it's by no coincidence that all these things ended up happening, and it just led you on this journey.
100%, mate. All my opportunities have came from taking care of myself and doing the right things daily. Yeah. It opens all the doors. It's the first thing I say to my clients on the call as well, when they're on a game plan call. This is the foundation. Get your health and fitness in check, and all the other doors will open up for you. It's the first key to unlock them. Totally,
mate. I'm the same as well. I always say this to people, like, fitness is the gateway to self-improvement. I started the same way. Like, you explained exactly all the things you've been through. I was that skinny, unconfident guy. It wasn't until I started training and actually bettered myself, started physically, and I was like, hold on, I can become more disciplined, more consistent. So then mentally I became better. Then I started reading. Then emotionally I became more intelligent. I started reading in. I wanted to become more knowledgeable, more wise, all these things. It's like fitness was the gateway. It's the same for everyone. How many guys, it's like, you'll be the same as me. We've coached so many people. They come in, they transform their physique, and then guess what? They want to take on a new job. They want to build a better relationship. They just want to better their lives. And that's what fitness does, man.
It does. It does. And it's like you're trying to shake people to make them understand it, but people need to go on the journey themselves and experience it. I genuinely believe it's the best journey you can ever go on, because it makes you feel good, for one. Mentally, it takes you to another level, and the opportunities that come with it is just night and day.
I loved that when you mentioned how you guys were sat on that beach in Bali. When you were on that beach in Bali, was the thought, we need to build this type of life? What was it that you guys were wanting from there? Was that type of life, and you thought, fuck, we need to live this life?
So with like the whole manifestation and planning, like a lot of that does come from me, Paul, is like that. You can see things in the future, and it always happens. So at that time, when we were talking about coaching and getting into it, I did say to Paula, like, I would like to travel. I've always wanted to travel, and I think we can do it from coaching. I had no idea how we're going to do it, but my mate Decky, he had an online coach from Australia way back then that was sending on PDF files every week, and I was like, you've got a coach in Australia? Like, what the fuck's going on? Mm-hmm. And he was showing me it all. He was sending the meal plan, and even at that, I was like, I don't think I could do that, because I'm not good, like, academically. I felt like that was a wee bit too much for me. But I knew there was an opportunity to work online, and I told Paula back then, I was like, we get a gym experience, we get our qualification, we work on the gym floor, and then we take it from there. And she was all on board. She was like, I want to do it, let's go for it. And we loved Bali. We loved this side of the world. I was like, it'd be good. But our plan initially was to move to Australia. Like, we wanted to move to Australia, and then obviously lockdowns happened, the whole COVID situation, which then actually propelled us into the coaching, because I still had my sales job. Everyone was furloughed. It was one of the best summers we'd ever had at the time. And in my mum's garage, I ended up building a little gym just for us to like work out ourselves. Went back to work, and then the first week I was like, I can't do this anymore. I was like, at Paula, I was like, with the little equipment we've got in that gym, let's just start taking clients. and it just snowballed from there. I quit my job with 3 clients. My granny, my mum's like, yeah, keep your job for a backup and that. And I'm like, no, if I go all in this, I'm going all in. And we had a pull-up bar, some dumbbells, and people were coming to train, and every time we received a payment, we just added more equipment, so just constantly reinvested, built in a little decent setup in the garage, and because of all the groundwork that I had done for the years before that, my books got filled pretty quickly. And I was like, this is what we want to do, man. We're going down this path.
Incredible, man. And then how long did it take when you were personal training? When did you decide, do you know what, we want to transition this online and build an online business?
It probably got to a year and a half into it where I was kind of at my wit's end with it, to be honest. I was getting burnout at this point where I was working constantly, where I was getting to the point where I was hoping clients would cancel so I could go in and get a sleep, which a lot of PTs will understand what I'm talking about with that, because it's very, very mentally demanding. You're speaking to different people every day. Some people are coming in and really giving you all their problems. You're ending up being like a therapist at some points, and it can be very mentally demanding. But it got to the point where we were wanting to move to Australia and the doors weren't open yet. And we hadn't had a holiday, we hadn't been anywhere, and we seen Thailand had opened their doors. And I said to Paula, let's just go to Thailand. I've always wanted to go and do like a fitness camp there. I almost done it when I was like 20, once I stopped playing football, but I just didn't have the balls to go travelling myself. And we went, we says we'll go there for 46 months and then we'll do Bali a little bit. So this is when we just went online. So I transitioned maybe 10 of my clients from one-to-one to online. I was like, fuck it, let's just go for it. Crypto was doing all right at that time. That was when the last bull run was happening, and we came out here. We learned a lot from what type of coach what we wanted to be, who we wanted to help. It was a great learning curve. We done 6 months and then 3 months in Bali, went back home, reassessed everything, and we were like, we need to get to Thailand. And then that's how we ended up here.
Amazing, man. Amazing. I was somewhat similar. Like when I left my personal training business, I came out here. I believe I had 8 clients, mate, when I first came out here, and just almost just took the risk. And then obviously when you're out here, it's more than worth it. So in that time that you spent in Thailand, then in Bali, talk me through what that was like. What's the life like out here?
It was incredible. Like, a lot of people know I came into the coaching game out of shape. Like, through lockdown, I piled the weight back on again. I lost my granda through that period. So it's clear to me when things aren't going good, I'm a stress eater, emotional eater. That's my vice, like, which I'm kind of happy about, because it could be drink or drugs, which I feel like would be even worse for me to control. But through that time, life was good. It was like, what are we doing? Because we had very little clients at the time, but we invested in a business coach, because I was like that to Paula. I don't know how to run an online business. I was like, we need to invest in help. And Paula's always been someone, because she's been a dancer, not knowing when her next gig's coming, that she wants to hold on to all her money. But I've always been one that you need to spend money to make money. I don't care if it's my last tenner, I'll spend it if it's going to maybe get a return from it. So we done that. We invested in a business coach, helped us get all our systems set up, understand how a business operates, and learn what we needed to learn from that side of things. And we were just taking it day by day, really. Like, there was no real plan. We were just going, taking it day by day, just seeing what happens. We had in our mind, if it doesn't work out, we can just go back home. Like, that's the thing. But the more we were out here, our clients were growing, we were getting more clients. We hired a VA, which done very well for us at that stage. And the business just grew and grew. And then it did take a dip after that, because we weren't doing the right things that you should be doing on a day-to-day side of business. Like, we learned the systems, we learned how to deliver a coaching service and stuff like that, but we didn't learn the whole marketing side and the content side, which that's what we ended up getting into later.
Yeah, there's a ton to it, man.
Oh,
Of course, there's so much to this. People look at it and they think, oh, like you sit on a Zoom call or you record a Loom video. Well, there's so much in the back end of it, and in content, it's its own beast as well, isn't it?
Wow.
It's wild, man. How long? So you were in Bali for 3 months?
3 months.
What did you think of that?
I love Bali, right, for a holiday, but I didn't like it to work there. Like, just, you know yourself, the infrastructure there isn't as good as Phuket. You can very easily lift your life from Scotland and land it in Phuket. Like, I can play football as many times a week as I want. The big malls have got all the shops that you've got back home. You can eat the food that you can get back home. A lot of people think when you come here that you just need to eat Thai food or you're eating insects or whatever. Like, my mum was one of those people until she came out here and realised, wow, what a life you could live. And when we went back home after spending the time in both places, Thailand was the place that we wanted to come back to. But the people you meet, the positivity, especially here, because we lived in Fitness Street, everyone on that street is there to improve themselves. No one there is to party or to gallivant. They're there training in the morning, they're having their protein shakes, they're eating at the healthy restaurants. So the conversation every day is improvement, and you're getting the golden nuggets from certain people that you can apply to your business. You're speaking to other coaches. So it was just a utopia for us.
It totally is that, mate. It's like a self-improvement heaven, man. It's like because people, honestly, they don't understand Thailand. So for those of you that haven't been before, obviously Phuket is an island. I think it is the largest island in Thailand. When you're in Phuket, now you can party, like obviously you've got Bangla Road, but that's away from us. We've got 50 minutes away. You've also got Bang Tao's got all the big beach clubs. You've got Patong, which if people come for a day or two to Thailand, that's where they'll go. Or to Phuket, they'll go to Patong or whatever, and they'll stay there. And people always go there and then oh, Phuket was rubbish. It's because you've not seen actual Phuket. It's like obviously you go down towards like Geelong, Rawai, where I stay, like where me and you stay. It is very much like there's not really any party places. Rawai, there's maybe a couple, but there's nothing really. It's like Fitness Street is for those of you who've never heard of it before, is literally a street of gyms. It's gyms, good food places, barbers, tattoo shops, everything like that. It's pretty incredible, isn't it?
It's amazing when you go through that street. You cannot help but smile because you've just got people that are out of shape. You know, they're there to try and improve themselves, and then you've got top level athletes walking along the street. You're getting your professional UFC fighters, and it's just an incredible place, man.
It is. I find it hard to explain to people because literally you're walking down the street, you could see a UFC fighter or somebody that fights in Bellator, won championship, whatever. Yeah, you get Olympic athletes and stuff will come to Fitness Street to do their training. It's like you get people from America, from Russia, you get people from Europe, you get people from every part of the world will come to Fitness Street in Thailand because it's one of the best areas in the world to train. And like you said, it's like a self-improvement hub. The food's so good. It's obviously cheaper as well. So obviously Fitness Street is more expensive, but it's still at least half the price you'll pay in the UK. So it's like, imagine going from the UK, which we don't even need to explain what the UK is like, everybody knows what it's like in terms of from a mindset perspective. You come to a place like this, the weather's great all the time, the gyms are amazing, the people are happy, everybody's there to become better. It's pretty amazing, man. That's
where creating your own environment comes into play, and I need environment to flourish, bro. Like everyone does. Like you can be surrounded by so much noise or negativity in your life, and it's quite easy to pinpoint why you're not progressing when you've got those sort of things round about you. But if you remove certain people from your life, you remove certain things like alcohol or whatever your things are that are holding you back, create your own little utopia and then start thriving, man. This was a place for me to do that.
Yeah, exactly, man. Same for me. It's like when I looked at my life, I was like, I made some big decisions, removed certain people, like changed my environment totally. It's like I'm actually going for Lanark to Fitness Street. Yeah. It's a total different ball game, man. So it's the perfect environment for somebody to thrive in. Obviously, we've now begun to build a life by design, and this is where we want to live. So it's pretty amazing. When you compare it to Bali, obviously you said Bali's not quite really like that. I totally agree. Tell me more about what you think in Bali in terms of a place to live potentially.
To live, obviously I've been in Seminyak Ubud, Canggu, spent a day or two up at Uluwatu, which seems to be it's going to be the new Canggu. But I just feel like it's overcrowded. They've overpopulated it. They've made it like it's the influencer heaven in it. Like that's what it is really. Like you could get caught up in it really easily because you've still got a lot of the party inside there. It's still great to meet new people and network and stuff like that. There's some great gyms out there. Ubud, if you want more the chill yoga vibe, that's that sort of place. If you want party, Seminyak's got a lot of the beach clubs, and then Canggu is just a million people in a one-way dot. Like, it's crazy, and I don't like that. Like, see, working in the city centre in Glasgow, that hustle and bustle, you see everybody rushing to work at 9 o'clock, finish at 5 o'clock, getting the bus home, and that fast pace. I hate that, mate. I want more a relaxed vibe, and that's why I love Phuket, because certain areas in Phuket especially, you've got your own little bubble where you can just enjoy your life and be relaxed.
Yeah, I think you explained it very well. It's like, I say that Bali itself is like Ibiza for the Australians, because it's so quick for them to get over. You're more likely to go to Bali and, like you said, get caught up in it, the materialism. People are more materialistic over there. Obviously got the big fancy clubs, the nice food restaurants, whatever. You'll see a lot more Rolexes in Bali than you will in Thailand, put it that way. And it's not to say that here there aren't people doing very well. There's a ton of people doing incredibly well for themselves. But I think it's just Thailand's just, Phuket in general is just more relaxed. Obviously the culture here with the emphasis on Buddhism. I know the people in Indonesia are very similar. But in terms of the environment, the type of people you get here, I think it's night and day, man. It really is.
Here, Thailand, especially Phuket, it's all about sabai. That's how you say chill, relax, take it easy. And Bali's just go, where it's for certain people. But for me personally, I enjoy this approach more relaxed. You can, even when I went to Bangkok, I could only spend a weekend there. It's too much for me. I went to Malaysia, it's a weekend max. It's too much for me. Like, give me the nice relaxed vibe any day.
Mm-hmm, for sure. And then, like you said, you've got paddle, you've got football. Like, people don't understand how like normal it is here in terms of, you want to play sports, you can play golf. Some great golf courses. Like, everything is here from a food standpoint. Things are here, so it really is the dream place to be. Did you know that from the first time that you came over, that you thought, this is where I want to stay?
Yeah. As soon as we landed, when you get to Thailand, you obviously get the Thailand smell to begin with. You're like, what is that? But that naturally just becomes normal. I think when you go to any country, they've got their smell, wouldn't they? And once we got settled into where we were staying, we got settled into our training, I feel like we just fell in love with it, mate. Like, the first place we went to was a place called Unit 27, and there was a coach in there called Jibby. Big shout out to her. A lot of people come to Fitness Street just for her. Just a no BS coach. Like, she'll get right on your case if you're slacking, just kind of what you're needing. And we fell in love with it, with the way she would be on my case if I was slacking. I was like, we need to be coached off her. To Paula, we spent a lot of time in there, and then the people we were meeting in there, I didn't play much football at the start, but the opportunities that came that way with the things that could happen out here with going and playing football, going and playing paddle, I was like, we could create an amazing life here where I would be happy to bring kids up here as well.
Tell me a bit about the vision. What's life? What is the life plan? You're going to live out here permanently. Talk to me about that.
So the plan is to start a family here, and I don't plan on staying here forever though. Like, I feel like even though Thailand's amazing, I feel like for kids, when you get to a certain age, there's some infrastructure that's just not there for kids. For instance, you don't see a lot of Thai professional footballers, do you? Like, from the age of 12 to like 20, there's no infrastructure there. So I don't know, whatever my kids want to do, they can do, and I'll help them and support them in whatever it is they want to do. But if it's something sports or down that route, it could possibly be having to relocate somewhere else when they reach the age of about 10. But for now, it's just building a life, building a business. I've obviously got the football academy as well with my mate Danny. We set that up at the start of the year, and that's thriving. Like, seeing kids improve on a weekly basis, seeing the team bonding and winning trophies, tournaments, and how fast we've improved in 6 months. Like, it's just a dream. It is a dream life, mate. I couldn't wish for any better, to be honest.
Tell me about how that comes about. So you come over to Thailand, you're here with your girlfriend, you guys are working online, you're running an online business. Obviously, at one point you'd never been here before. This isn't somewhere where you knew loads of people. How does that opportunity come about where you are now part owner and you're running a football academy in Phuket?
It comes about from me playing football with someone. A lot of opportunities for me come from playing sports. So I played football with Danny 2 years ago in a tournament. We knew of each other, but we never really spent any time, or he was never in any of the gyms or anything I went to. But I told Paula at that time, I was like, when I play football with these lads and they see that I'm decent, that's when I'll start getting better connections with them. Which was true. Me and Danny bonded after that, and I've always had the vision of maybe opening a gym and having a few football pitches where starting a little academy. But even though I've not done that directly, indirectly, that manifestations ended up coming my way. And then October time last year, Danny took over the football pitches at Geelong Soccer, and he was like, I want to start an academy here. He's an ex-pro as well. He's played semi-pro. He knows the ins and outs, and he was a school teacher out here, a PE teacher. So he's got a passion to help kids become little better humans, the same as I've got a passion just to help anyone become better, to be honest, whether that's through fitness or through football. And we were chatting up to December. He was like, I need you out in January because we need to start this academy. A lot of the kids are ready to go. The schools are going back after the Christmas break and stuff, and I wasn't planned to come out here until February. I said to Paula, I need to go. Like, I needed this opportunity. I can't let this pass by. And then we started. We had a decent number to start with for kids because he knew he had good connections. And then from there, mate, each month it's just grew arms and legs. We've probably got over 75 kids on the books. Wow. And we've got different teams. We've got the 2 pitches full. We've got like 5 coaches now. So it's something that's grew pretty quickly, and we're very proud of the effort and the work that we've put into it.
So you should be, man. So you should be. So obviously you have that. You have your online coaching business. You live in a nice wee villa in Phuket. You've built this life. Reflecting back and looking at where you've come from, especially the lowest lows, when you were in a position when you didn't have a job, you were the most depressed you've probably ever been. You were out of shape. You had all these bad habits. There's quite the transformation. So when we think of that, a lot of that comes from the mindset, comes from having a certain view of the world and having this belief that you can achieve something. What would you say the changes in your mindset were that allowed you to build this type of life?
For me, my mindset is everything happens for a reason. I had to go through all that shit when I was younger. Every setback I've had, I've come out the other side stronger. And I know that doesn't happen for everyone, but it's the self-awareness that I feel that I've got that pretty good. I know when things aren't going good. I know when I'm going through a spell, and I know through that spell I'm getting taught some lessons here where people would look at certain things in their life if they're going through a hard time and just think, why me? Why is this happening to me? The victim mentality. Well, what happened to me when I was in my early 20s, I don't feel anything else could be ever worse than that. I felt like my heart had been ripped out at that point. So my mindset has always been, nothing's as ever as bad as it seems. positive mental attitude at all times. Think positively, positive things happen. And me doing the right things daily, exercise and eating good food, supercharges my mindset to propel into the future. Like, the changes has just really been the gym, good food, and being surrounded by good people.
Amazing. And it makes so much sense. Obviously, that's the exact path that you've just explained that you've went down. If someone, I mean, those are really good nuggets of advice there. If there was someone that was in your position in the sense of they want to build a dream life, they want to live that life that they envision in terms of living a place where they want to live, being in the type of shape they want to be in, what would you say the starting point is? What would be the first protocol for you to give them advice? What would they have to do?
Get in the gym, get in shape, start eating good. The vices that you've got that's holding you back, start limiting them. If there's people you're around that's holding you back, that aren't supporting you, that is one thing that I'm super thankful for. I need to give him a mention, my mate Decky, my biggest supporter, tells me how it is. He'll watch this full podcast and he'll give me a full breakdown of how it went or how I can improve or for next time. Like, it's just, well, that type of relationship where we help and support each other. It's the sort of conversation, you should be having conversations with your mate that it's not arguments or whatever, it's productive conversations, even if you don't agree on something, but try to see each other's point of view and then taking it from there. So special shout out to him, he's helped me a lot over the years, and that's the foundation. Get in the gym, start taking care of your health, start eating good food. That is a massive factor. Limit alcohol if alcohol is an issue. Start surrounding yourself with good people. In the beginning, it might be hard to find those people. You might need to be a lone wolf, but your vibe attracts your tribe, and once you start putting that in, you'll start attracting the people that should be in your life.
Incredible, man. I think I love that, how you've obviously mentioned what a big part he's played in your life, because it's the people around us, is the impact in that can't be understated. It can go one of two ways. Either you surround yourself with negative people, you will go the same way, or you surround yourself with people like him and they'll help propel you forward, man. It's amazing. It's like we'd mentioned so many times already, environment, that comes from where you live. It comes from what you consume as well, like what you consume online, the type of content, the type of people you're around. One thing I wanted to touch on was based off your relationship. Obviously, you guys have committed to a dream, a vision together. You have built this life together. It's not just being like, oh, I'm doing this, or you come with me, or whatever. How big a part has Paula played in all of this?
Massive. Like, again, my biggest supporter, gives me all the tools I need to thrive, really. Like, we know our roles in our relationship. We know what our strengths are, we know what our weaknesses are, and we complement each other that way, where she's always, as I said, left it up to me to basically plan the future, and then we'll chat about it and then construct a plan together and then move forward with it. Like, it's very, very, it's easy for us because we do the same job. I know you can have couples that have totally different career paths, and there can be conflict sometimes with that in the household because someone's wanting to do one thing and the other person wants to do something else. But our vision, our goals, everything's aligned, so it just makes life so much easier. And I feel like anytime I'm having a shit day or if I don't want to go to the gym, she's a coach as well, so she gives me the kick up the arse and vice versa. So it's a good relationship to have, man.
Amazing, man. Honestly, it makes me fucking smile just hearing that, because I'm reading a book at the moment by, do you know Jay Shetty? Do you know who he is? Yeah, so he's got a book, The 8 Rules of Love, I believe it's called, and one of the things he's like, your partner should be your guru, in the sense of, like, obviously they're the person that's going to support you, also challenge you, they're going to help push you on forward, but having someone when you're feeling low that can actually support you, it obviously helps that she's a coach as well. But it's amazing to hear that you guys have that for each other, because I think it's, guys talk about, I think right now is with this hustle culture is very much, people talk about, oh, like if you're single, be single, grind, do this, do that. But I honestly don't think guys understand if you have the right woman by your side, there is nothing more powerful. It is a multiplier. It multiplies you tenfold.
Oh mate, 1,000,000%. Like I've preached that quite a lot as well. That there's that sort of thing online with young lads being single and just try to be this alpha male and stuff. But you need a good woman, 100%. That you're going to need a woman at some point in your life. So finding the right one, which is hard. Like you need to, obviously from past relationships, you learn what do you need in your relationship. And as I said, everything that we want out of life, she's always travelled. I wanted to travel. She's into her fitness. I'm into my fitness. And we want to just have a good future. Like we don't care about the most lavish things in life. We are happy with helping our clients on a day-to-day basis, putting content out there that can help people, spending time maybe at the beach once a week or going a sunset walk, like things like that. She'll tell you, like, when I go out a sunset walk, I'm just like, this is life. This is free. We don't need to pay to go and do this. This is the best thing ever for me. Seeing a sunrise, seeing a sunset. It's things like that are just, it's very important to me.
You've mentioned it so many times that it keeps cropping up in my head, this idea of, I love the idea of alignment in the sense of, it can be from a personal standpoint when you're doing the things that you need to do to get to the position you want to be in, but it also comes from every other area of your life. Like you've said so many times, you're feeling at your best when you're eating right, you're training right, you're spending time around the right people. You'd mentioned Decky before, like his values, his vision of life seems to, I think I know who he is as well. I know I've seen his content and things like that, things about him online, and that mindset, that level of inspiration, it's like you guys are so perfectly aligned that how can you guys not thrive together? Because you're both on that same fucking mission.
Decky's the sort of person that's quite reserved. He doesn't let people in his circle pretty easily. He's quite calculated. And I just feel like he's been one of those lads that's been very clued up at a very young age, very early on. And that could be from people he's had in his life, his dad, uncles, whatever. And once we clicked, and it was just a relationship. It just grew and help, support. I could ask him advice on anything. I would challenge him on things. He would challenge me on things. We never, ever once out of all the years we've had chats, spoke about nights out, girls, anything like that. We've never spoke about anything that's not productive. Everything has always been the future, how we can improve, and self-improvement really, and it's been massive for me.
Mate, it's a huge red flag. I love this point because it's a big red flag. If you are going and spending the time around your friends and all you ever speak about is the past, red fucking flag. So, oh, do you remember that night? Oh, what about this? What about that? Oh, remember that? It's like fucking, like, how good does it feel when all you spend time when you're talking about is just the future? Yeah. It's like the life that you're building, the business you're building. Maybe it is the relationship you're building, the relationship with yourself, your mindset, all of these things. When you start to have these type of conversations with people, life gets so much better. And you touched on another thing earlier, which I think is a really good point we need to mention. It's this like loneliness chapter. Because anybody that's listening to this and like, fuck, I want this life. I want to be friends with these type of people. I want to live that type of life. They are going to have to go through that lonely chapter. Me and you have both been through there. Like, you've not always had him. I've not always had my friends. Like, we've built that because once you start to become that type of guy, you attract these type of people because you're aligned. But we all have to accept that we're going to go through this loneliness chapter. There is going to be a stage when you outgrow your friends. Your vision for the future outweighs their vision. They don't have one. So it's like, okay, you're just not going to fit in. And I think it's really key that people understand that. It's like you are going to go through a phase if you want to live a certain type of life where things aren't going to feel great. You're going to feel lonely. You're going to feel like you don't have that many friends. The ones that are truly people you should be spending your time around, they will stick by you. And those that don't, is for the better.
100%, mate. You've got your drinking buddies and then you've got your mates that want to see you succeed, and they're the ones that you just need a couple of them. You need only one mate. Like you only need one of those mates to support and believe in you, and you need to have that. It has to be same on both ends for that relationship to work. Like Decky and Don, I don't know if you know the two of them, but they started their crypto business at the same time I was starting coaching. all our talk at that time was we're broke free. We're broke free from the 9 to 5. Like we're so buzzing. Decky was a roofer. I was obviously in my sales job. We would be sending Snapchats and that to each other all the time. Like we've fucking done it. Like we felt like we're basically retired because we're doing something that we love. Know what I mean? And he's built a successful life for himself, and it's brilliant, and fucking so proud. The journey he's went on as well, man.
It's incredible, mate. It is, and it's, for me personally, mate, obviously me and you have known each other for a relatively short period of time, but when we spoke that first time, straight away I was like, this guy's
Same.
like, you can tell, mate, we've the industry we're in, obviously there's a lot of people who, I don't know, call them what you like. For me personally, I don't really align with, so it's fine, and you can pick that up pretty quickly. But it is special when you meet people and you're like, fuck, this guy's on a mission. Like, this guy's pursuing constant improvement. He's trying to become better. It feels incredible, mate. I
noticed that when we went out on walks, the conversation's just natural. Like, you're not having to put on a persona or whatever, because we're aligned in what we want out of life. The self-improvement, like, my mission, mate, is to help as many people through health and fitness as possible, because I know how much it's helped my life. And all you need to do is look at my life over the last 10, 15 years. I've had many lows, I've had many highs, but the one thing that stands out is if I'm doing the right things daily, if I'm taking care of myself, everything else falls into place. And I know for a fact it can do it for you as well. You just need to commit to the process.
It's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. Honestly, mate, this whole conversation, it's like, you in general, mate, you do inspire me. Like, from the very first time we spoke, like, seeing this life you've built, you're moving out here with Paula, where you're staying, everything you're doing, the type of guy that you are, just, you built this life, mate, and it's incredibly inspiring, this dream life, especially here and where you've come from. It really is. So, I mean, you can call it the rat race, you can call it the matrix, whatever it is, mate, you've escaped it. It's incredibly inspiring. So, thank you for joining me today, having this conversation.
Thank you, mate. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Cap on cap, brother.
Cap on cap.
Oh, man.
Nah, man.